Hey, what's up, my friends? It's Shamrock here with a boss guide for you. I apologize that I haven't posted anything in a week. I've just been busy, but I'm back here with some guides. This one is for Leymor, which is the first boss in Azure Vault. It's like the big rocky tree dude. This boss is predictable, but it doesn't necessarily make it easy. Like, I find this is one of those bosses that can go from like, oh, everything's great, to oh my god, everybody's dead in like a couple of seconds, just depending on if everybody's not doing their part that they're supposed to do, or if anybody takes extra damage when they really shouldn't be. And mostly you'll find that the DPS take unnecessary damage when they are A, standing in a tree or accidentally get knocked back into a tree, or B, when the tank isn't able to pick up all the slimes right away. And sometimes that they can wail on you or the DPS, which makes things a lot harder. But other than that, if you guys can keep that under control, and if you can coordinate getting all the trees for each stomp, you should be absolutely fine on this boss. So that being said, I do have a few just like tricks to help you stay alive, and I did slow down the video quite a bit, and I also have an ability tracker on the top left, so you can check that out to see what I'm casting and when. So on Tyrannical weeks, I would suggest lusting on this boss. I know like some groups like to lust on the first pull of the dungeon, which I think is the way to go for fortified. But for this boss, lust is just going to shorten the amount of time that you're doing this boss. And I find for this guy, the longer the fight goes on, the more room there is for error. Like I said, everything can change really quickly on this boss. So you want it to end as quickly as possible. Okay, so first ability, the Infused Strike, he's going to cast it on the tank. If you have a Death Knight tank or even some other tanks, they can usually immune it, which is great because it does do a lot of damage. If you have a tank who can't immune it, it's no big deal. It just means you have to pump some healing surges, some healing waves into them to just, they need a little bit more attention, which just means you're not going to be able to DPS as much, which is no big deal. If your tank is not able to survive properly, that's not on you, that's on them. They should be able to survive with you, focusing them just a little bit. All right, so for this, when he puts the circles in everybody, you have to go and find your tree. This is very important to keep everybody topped up. So going into this, make sure people are topped up, and if anybody gets any extra damage from the tree, heal them if you can, if they're within range, or if you can get to them. If not, you kind of just have to hope that they use a personal. Once the damage goes out, you should have a cooldown for each round. So this first one, I use Ancestral Guidance, just because I know it'll be up pretty soon later on in the fight. And then I just pop some healing surges, chain heal, riptides, just like really focusing on getting everybody topped up for the stomp ability, which is not going to kill everybody, at least on a 24 and probably a 25, although you're probably getting a little bit dicey on a 26. As long as you keep everybody topped up, you should be good. For both of those abilities, if you have the time, and you definitely should for the first ability with the circles, maybe not for the stomp, just because it sometimes takes a little bit of time to top everybody up, but for the ability with the circles, as soon as everybody's topped up and good to go, you need to go into Spirit Wolf, Ghost Wolf right away for the Spirit Wolf DR. If you're talented into that, which you should be, that's 20% damage that you're not going to be taking. And you'll see for each of those, I will go into Spirit Wolf, so I'll call it out each time again. Also, so for these little slimes, it's tempting to do some chain lightnings just because, it looks nice on the DPS meter. But don't worry, the DPS cleave is going to get them. They don't really do anything once the tanks pick them up. So just focus your single target damage on Leymor. All right, so you'll see everybody's topped up. I go into Ghost Wolf here to reduce the damage I'm about to take. And then I believe for this one, I go ahead and I pop Ascendance. And then I just put a Cloudburst down, pop a Trinket, and then go ahead and get everybody topped up. And then for the next ability, once he does the stomp, I pop my Cloudburst to get a little bit of initial burst of healing so nobody dies from anything that could happen after, such as like a slime attacking them. And then you just take your time and heal everybody up. One of the most dangerous things about this fight is the Sappy Burst, which is what happens when the slimes die. Keep a very wide berth of these things. Like, don't go anywhere near them. Don't run to the center where the tank is tanking them, like even if it's easier to heal when everybody's grouped up. Just like stay far away from them, because the graphic on the ground isn't completely true. Like, you can be standing outside on the outer edge of it and think you're fine, and it will still hit you, and they will definitely one-shot you. So just, be careful, stay clear of them, and then you won't have to worry about it. Also, a good thing to note is where the tank is facing the boss, because that cone, if he is going for some trees and you happen to be standing right there, you just have to make sure you move out of the way. But you should be moved out of the way first of all. So that was very important what happened there. If you want to like rewind another 5 seconds or so, unless you were paying attention. Once I saw the tank like get rid of the trees with the cone that he was able to, I repositioned myself to where nobody else was standing, to like a group of trees that would need to be that you would need to like explode with that circle. And it worked out. I ended up being there, and then everybody else got the other one. So it's always good. This fight is really about positioning yourself and making sure that you are in a good spot to get those trees, as well as everybody. It's not just you, it's the whole group. Anyway, so for that explosion, I used Healing Tide to just, you know, help get everybody up afterwards. And then once again, that's pretty much it. You just need to make sure everybody's topped up for the stomp. And then after the stomp, you have lots of time to heal everybody up, assuming the tank is doing their job and taking the slimes. All right, once again, I find myself in a circle here, so I immediately get out. Don't wait, like don't get greedy and finish your cast. If you happen to be in the area when a circle is coming out, one of the sappy bursts from the slime, just get away from it right away. All right, and make sure you're on point with your single target rotation for DPS. Oh, and also for thundering, this fight can be dangerous if you leave thundering too long, because, you know, you may have to spread out for whatever the circles, or so like just make sure that you're clearing thundering before those abilities happen, because you can get stuck in a tight spot and it really can mess things up, and it's not worth the extra damage for like 5 seconds. So just clear it when you're safe too. All right, here we go. This one's a little bit awkward. I wasn't sure which side to go to, but thankfully we actually ended up getting all the trees here, which is great. There we go. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think I may use Link here. No, I used Ancestral Guidance, and that's enough to get everybody up. Oh, and then yeah, I do use Spirit Link. So if you're towards the end, I would say like save Spirit Link for if there are any points where like there's a tree or two left up when he does the stomp. But if you're towards the end of the fight, like I was there, and like you're not really going to get any more, there's no reason not to use Spirit Link, just because you never know what can happen. Somebody, you know, maybe they don't have their proper mitigation, whatever, and they can die. So if you're at the end of the fight and you haven't used it yet, just go for it. There's no reason not to. And then once the boss is about like 10% or lower, you really shouldn't need to worry about clearing these trees. Like even if you get the circles, just focus on DPSing the boss down. And that's it. So it's once again, it's not tough. This is just sort of like a coordinated fight where everybody needs to, you know, do their part in order for this to be successful. But if everybody does do their part, it's really, I wouldn't say it's a hard fight. It just it does require you to be on your toes with topping people up for those different AoE abilities. But once you get the hang of that and you kind of sort your cooldowns out, you should be good. And one thing I will note is I actually don't have a set cooldown usage for this fight, because depending on whether a tree gets left up, where you're positioned, if slimes are attacking you or not, you kind of just need to play your cooldowns on the fly. But a good rule of thumb is to save a cooldown for every time the circle explosion happens before the stomp, so that you can get people topped up nice and quickly for that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. You know, you can ask me in the Discord, whatever. But, you know, if you find yourself in here, best of luck. This boss can be a little bit scary, but once you get some practice and if you have a good group who knows what they're doing, then it really is not that bad. And it's extra important, like I said, for you to do your part as well. Make sure that you are topping people up for every ability. Make sure you're standing in the right spot and you're repositioning so that you can get as many trees as you can. And yeah, this boss will go down nice and easy. Okay, all right, until next time, I'll see ya.